we're doing a lot of work on the Mexican election at the moment. And the question we're getting asked most often is this a bot? There's huge interest in bots. There's huge interest in botnets. There's not a whole lot of expertise in what they are. The point of this game is to let you dip your toes into the seething sea of bots and come out safely. OK? Very, very briefly, in terms of definition, there are all kinds of bots. There are malevolent bots. There are benign bots. It's a really complicated subject. When we're talking about bots, we are talking about social media accounts which are being run by an algorithm rather than a human being. The difference between a real Twitter account and a fake Twitter account is there's a real human being at the Twitter account keyboard. On the real one, there is no keyboard on the fake one. It's just an algorithm. That means that basically, for our purposes, a bot on social media is a social media account which is being run by autopilot. You switch it on, you let it go, and it flies. That basically means, in turn, that what it's going to do, it'll retweet things, it'll post, it'll like things, and it will follow accounts. It won't normally post its own content. So rule number 1 of bot spotting, if you are having an argument with it, it is probably not a bot. Okay? If we can spread that word, it would save about 95% of the trash talk about bots on the internet, so this would be a good start. Okay? So that's bots. The second most common question we get about Mexico is, where are the botnets? So Donara is going to talk to you about botnets.
So as the name suggests, a botnet is a network of hundreds or thousands of bots. On their own, a single bot doesn't really have or can have any impact on the information environment or a social media network. But as a network, they can and have in the past impacted the trending content that we are seeing and the algorithms behind the social media companies and pages. Another interesting thing to think about is that there are 2 types of botnets. There are the commercial botnets and the political botnets. Most of the time in the media, we hear about the political botnets, but they are not the majority of bots. The majority of bots are commercial bots whose main purpose is to promote products for financial gain. And that can range from the new Huawei phone to escort services in Turkey. And then we have the political botnets, whose main goal is to promote political ideas, agendas, candidates, and campaigns. And they are doing it for the political gain. The difference between the two is that they have different goals and different objectives. But what we have seen is that commercial botnets have and could be used for political purposes. So Ben and I recently did some work on the botnets targeting the Mexican elections, and we found that quite a few of them were commercial botnets hired for the purpose of promoting content that was political. Another caveat is that bots target algorithms, not people. As Ben said, if a botnet is arguing with you, it's not a botnet. It's not a bot. So one thing to remember is that bots will rarely target you. What they do instead is they target algorithms. An algorithmically run account cannot change your opinion or mind about something. But what it can do is it can make content or subject or a person seem more important or more popular than they really are.
So what we're going to do in this table game, rather than telling you loads and loads and loads and loads of things about bots and then giving you 2 seconds to actually look at them, we've got some nicely caged botnets for you to actually look at. And they are bots, so you know they're bots, so you can have a look at them and actually experiment with some of the criteria of what bots are, so you can get a feel yourselves for what a real live botnet in the wild actually looks like. Just as, for those who haven't done any bot spotting before, welcome to the insane world. Your lives will never be the same again. You are going to lose hours of your lives just tracking down botnets, because it's just, you do. There are at least a dozen different clues which can tell you what a bot is, and we'll put them up on the screen a bit later. I'm just going to tell you 3 of them now. These are the 3 A's of bot spotting. We've had the D's, we've had the C's. This is the 3 A's of bot spotting. This is a useful rule of thumb which can help you quickly spot a bot without having to use an algorithm to do it. The 3 A's are activity, anonymity, and amplification. So activity, if you go to the profile page of the account that you're looking at. On the left-hand side, you'll see when it joined Twitter. Hover the mouse over that, and you will see exactly what date and time that account was created. At the top of that same page, you'll see the number of tweets and likes that it has posted. So you add together the tweets and the likes, and you divide it by the number of days that that account has been in existence, and you can see the average number of times per day that that account has posted. If the average is like 2 or 3, it's not suspicious. It may be a bot, but it's a very low volume bot. If the average is 200 or 300, you start thinking there's something dodgy about that account. If the average is over 1200, which I've seen in some bots, then you really start getting suspicious. One factor is never enough. There are people out there who spend all day, every day on Twitter and post hundreds of times a day. But if you find an account which is posting hundreds of times a day, that's your first warning signal. So that's the first A, which is activity. The second A is anonymity. The difference between an account run by a human and an account run by a bot is humans have lives and personalities. Bots don't. So look at anything in the account which gives it a personality. Does it even have a profile picture, or is it just an empty space? Does it have a real name? Or is the handle just a scramble of letters and numbers? Or is the handle obviously written by somebody who's getting bored at their keyboard and going diddlum, diddlum, diddlum? I found a bot once whose name was ASD, ASD, ASD. Look at your keyboards. First 3 letters on the left-hand side, in the middle row. This was a bot creator going, I'm bored, ching, 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 name done. That's not a real name. If it has a profile picture, is it a real person, or is it Scarlett Johansson? I mean, she's a real person, but she doesn't have 1,000 Twitter accounts, all of which are posting in Arabic about local politics. Okay? So anonymity. Is there anything which tells you there's a real person behind this account? So activity and anonymity. The most important of the 3, amplification. Remember what we said? Bots will amplify other people's posts. They will retweet, they will like, they will follow. They won't generally post their own content unless they're doing like a scraped share from YouTube or a website where the words in the post are going to be the same as the headline they're sharing. So click on the tweets. So the tweets and replies bit, when you're looking at the profile, always click on tweets and replies so you don't miss anything, and then just scroll down the list. See if there are any posts there which look like they were actually authored. If you find that your eyeballs are melting because you've been looking at retweets for 5 minutes non-stop, and there is no authored content among it, then that's bot-like behavior. Caveat for the journalists in the room. If you think you found a bot, and you're going to write about it, and you're going to name it, do not say, this is a bot. Say, this shows bot-like behavior, because the second you publish on it, the bot herd is going to turn off the algorithm and start tweeting at you from that account saying, I'm not a bot, how dare you call me a bot? If you've called it a bot, then it gets tricky. If you said, well, it's bot-like behavior, you can reply, maybe you're not a bot, but you posted 2,400 tweets in the last 45 minutes. That's bot-like. Game over.